My thing about the gym, when I didn't like the gym and started to like it, was every time I come to the gym and train, I get stronger, I get healthier, my business gets stronger, the people I know and love get stronger. This has an impact on everything and everyone around me. As I repeat that, and as you repeat that, you can actually deploy gratitude. I'm grateful for the ability to come to the gym. I'm grateful for the ability for a stockbroker. I'm grateful for that there's an exchange. I'm grateful that I have a computer to help me do that work. There's all these things that you can be grateful for. Demonstrate it in an action. I was recently informed that 96% of all people watching, that means you, are not actual subscribers to the channel. So take a second and hit subscribe.
Welcome to the Point with Jeff Spikes, the show about achieving goals, embracing growth, and finding your true path. And now, here's your host, Jeff Spikes.
Hello and welcome to The Point. Today, you're going to have the opportunity to dive deep in one of the most amazing topics that we could ever discuss and that you could ever be part of. And that is something that has definitely been discussed before here and many other places. The last few weeks, you've been considering change. You've been considering whether or not change is difficult and what could we do to go with the flow easier. You've considered the idea of what resistance you have to change and how that creates the most grind. So if you consider and take some of the suggestions in how to rework the way you're thinking and retrain your mind to handle things differently, then you can look at the resistance and make some changes and start walking through the flow much easier. Not only that, there might be less to change if you develop the highest level of goal that you can imagine, and then break that down to the smallest behaviors that you can do on a daily basis and make that happen. All of that's well and good. But if we don't have some foundational things in place, then maintaining the state, the energetic and emotional and mental state of change and of being optimal and is just not as simple. It's not as easy, or it's not as effective. And that energy and that consideration is gratitude. I really considered that it was high time that we go back to a more deep discussion about how to deploy gratitude in our lives, that is in your life, that is going to give you an advantage over anyone else. An important concept that was jumped into around the idea of being better and being your better self. Some comments came back that were kind of interesting. One comment I couldn't reply to. It kept going nowhere, so who knows who responded to that. But there were some DMs as well, and I got a couple phone calls that were really specific to this idea of being a better person and being better, and the idea of when do we get to take a break? When do we rest? When do we, take a break from always being better? And if you're moving towards an ideal of wanting to be better, one of the necessary functions is the proper amount of rest. And the proper amount of rest is different when you're in a zone and in a state of gratitude than when you're in a state of stress. Stress is known to be good when you're stretching yourself. There's unwanted stress, and there's an increase of stress when we start telling stories and rehearsing and reliving and rethinking through stressful problems over and over and over. We can compound stress and make it more intense and make it worse. If you're in an unresourceful state already, then piling on doesn't help. And there's definitely times for grace, forgiveness, kindness, and rest. No matter what's happening in life, the beauty of this is that while we're working on becoming more resourceful, while we're working on being better, which let's just take a second and get real about this, right? Being better or being a better person, which being a better person is clearly about being the best version of yourself. Yes, there's all types of judgments and opinions around morals and ethics and what's good and what's bad. We're not going to go into some of those deeper questions that then start looking at types of religions and belief systems and everything else. If you're watching this podcast, you qualify as a good person, and you're in a position of wanting to be better and already knowing you're better, and you're a person who is already understanding that you are wonderfully and perfectly made and that you're wired just fine. Doesn't mean there's not some rethinking and rewiring. When my coach talks about giving you a new operating system, right? So it's taking the old operating system that we're working from and replacing it with something faster, stronger, and more efficient, and that's more designed towards getting what you want versus continuing to repeat cycles of things that you don't want. We can go down a lot of analogies and a lot of roads to think about this, but the bottom line is being a better person is about being the better version of you. Really thinking through what your way of approaching a situation is, even when you're learning someone else's system or process, that you have a special way that you'll adapt yourself to it. Deploying gratitude, what does that do? Deploying gratitude looks at the current level of resources that you have, whether they're physical, financial, emotional, mental. You have an abundance of resources that you can utilize that are within you, whether it's just the fact that you know that you're breathing and that you know techniques of how to breathe to help yourself regulate. A resource is a way to emote in a healthy way. A resource is a way to think. A resource can also be external, and it can be things that you can learn. There's all types of things that you could consider a resource. A resource is your doctor. A resource is a friend who's meant to help you, a business partner. We could just go endlessly listing what resources you're already showing up with. If you're grateful for all these resources, so you have resources, you have relationships. So now you start counting relationships. Start getting grateful and really thinking about what are you grateful for all of those things. As you begin to do that, a question arises that it's really important that you ask. And that's when you're grateful for these things, for these resources, for the ability you have. One of the questions that comes up naturally is, how can you demonstrate that gratitude in what you do on a daily basis? What could you do right now to demonstrate gratitude for whatever it is you've thought of that's on top on your list of things you're grateful for, so that you're actually putting action, because a demonstration is an action. It's a forward movement. And we've talked about when you do certain behaviors, one way to start reworking your mind and moving into a better operating system, right, is to say certain things as you do them. So my thing about the gym, when I didn't like the gym and started to like it, was every time I come to the gym and train, I get stronger. I get healthier, my business gets stronger, the people I know and love get stronger. This has an impact on everything and everyone around me. As I repeat that, and as you repeat that, find your own way to say that. Now there's more, you can actually deploy gratitude. I'm grateful for the ability to come to the gym. I'm grateful for the fact that there's a gym that's here. And we could say, I'm grateful for the ability to trade. I'm grateful for the ability for a stockbroker. I'm grateful for that there's an exchange. I'm grateful that I have a computer to help me do that work. There's all these things that you can be grateful for. So specifically being grateful. Now, how do I demonstrate that? Well, a computer's an inanimate object, but you could clean the computer, take care of it. Same thing with your phone. You could do the same with relationships. You could do something kind for someone you're grateful for. Do something out of gratitude for them and learn what their love language is. Learn what speaks to them and has them feeling good. Do it from a place of a demonstration of gratitude. You're going to ingrain that. Now, the other thing that you can do is through your visualization practice, start visualizing what grateful is for you. Visualizing what that demonstration is going to do and how gratitude is going to expand amongst all things. How that's going to expand the person you're demonstrating it to or the thing you're demonstrating it to. We can be grateful for our legs. We can be grateful for body, for our ability to move. There's so many things. Demonstrate it in an action and then visualize how it's going to impact positively all the things around. Then you can even come up with a mantra. So now you're hitting the oral. You're really starting to speak it and hear it. If you really take those things seriously and take gratitude to a new level, there's worksheets. At our company, we share worksheets with our clients that helps them put that into a daily routine where they move away from just the whole thing of doing a list of 10 items that I'm grateful for, or 4 items or 3 items. We did 3 things you're grateful for 30 days and you can't repeat. We used to do that as like a challenge to each other, 30-day challenges, right? Well, sure, let's do that. But you'll get done in 10 days what you could do in 30 days by making demonstrations, visualizing the effect, really thinking through what you are truly grateful for. So get really specific and granular. If you're working towards growth in a company and you're scaling a company and you're starting to reach a point that you've reached before and you're looking at the patterns that it may have caused, you can do the same thing in your personal life. You're driving through to a change, wanting to do something better. You're wanting to improve a process, improve your bank account, improve your physical self. You're going to reach these points and these places where something similar is happening and you're finding patterns that you might have not otherwise found. Those are times that it's really easy to fall on your default. You fall on the default behaviors that you used to use before, the strategies that worked for you before to manage these things. Well, if you're completely and thoroughly infused in gratitude, and imagine then being grateful for being open and receiving the messaging that's necessary to receive, to see all of these things coming, and being grateful that you're seeing any obstacle that gets in your way, any repetitive pattern that has slowed your progress before, or that has had a massive turnaround effect or a major lesson, right? So, and just begin being grateful for the insight, the awareness, the vision, the understanding to know what's coming, and then visualize how that's going to benefit you. And what happens is you begin seeing beyond those obstacles, or really, they're not obstacles, they're pinch points where you have an opportunity to fall back on old behavior or grow beyond the original mindset you had, because we know that what took you to one place isn't going to get you to the next if you're working on change. If you're going to start changing it through behavior, there's a certain amount of muscle and force it takes at first, which can be minimized also through gratitude, but you may still hit a pinch point. What got you to stop the habit and to shift isn't going to anchor the new habit of what you want instead. So it's critical to know that. Now, gratitude can help you see those things coming, and rather than falling back to the habit, to move forward. Now, sometimes falling back in the habit for a minute is the best thing that can happen. So remember not to beat yourself up over these things, and constantly be ready to learn the lessons that are meant to be learned. Because sometimes that awareness, that revisiting, can make all the difference. Some things are more dangerous to fall back into than others as far as habits go. Pay attention to that and prepare and plan and accordingly. When you hit the pinch points where old behavior might come, gratitude will greatly increase your ability to move forward, especially if you're using visualization. So easy, effortless change is. It's your resistance that causes the challenge. What got you to change up front isn't going to carry you into the new behavior. Being aware and having the gratitude and the lessons and the learning is where you're really going to move forward and have some ease and flow of being grateful for seeing in advance the desire to return. So like fine-tuning your mind and opening it up to listen to all of the receptors that are there instead of just being myopically focused on this goal. Don't forget that being better is about enjoying the moment. Being better on a regular basis, having an overarching goal and letting go of it, just having it, writing it down, making it visceral, envisioning it and visualizing and doing all the necessary steps of goal setting to know that you're going to get there, and then allowing yourself, giving yourself total permission to go down that road and get there. All of this then being better and moving towards that is really about enjoying the moments. It's about being present in the moments and being focused on the behaviors that you're doing that are within the realm of making steps towards where you want to go, what you want to be, what you want to achieve, what you want to experience. Gratitude is that amazing ninja power that, done well, gets you there quickly, and infused enough makes just this an amazing flow be so much more simple and easy. So this mindset that when do I get to take a rest? When do I get to take a break? Is anchored to the old ways of thinking and the old behavior that isn't enjoying the moment, doesn't have a big goal, and is aimlessly roaming around. Because when you're in that flow, the rest comes instinctively and naturally. And the rest comes when you're experiencing the gratitude and building the gratitude. The rest comes in the reflection. The rest comes in the planning. There's natural moments to keep yourself at a pace that is reasonable, that it has a knowing that you're going exactly where you're meant to. And there is a peace and a happiness that goes with that. So infuse intense gratitude into your life. Remember that consistently, no matter what you're trying to do, no matter what you're trying to change. The point is, love yourself as deeply as possible and continue to grow that love. And you will be boundless, able to conquer and to achieve and to just naturally flow into anything you want. That is the point. Love to all. We will catch you next week. Thank you for joining us for another amazing episode of The Point with me, Jeff Spikes. Please visit jeffspikes.com for everything you would need to know to engage with me offline. And lastly, thank you for your time, your attention, and your consideration. This is The Point.